I'm in your corner, friend. I'm in your corner.
Tell me who you are and talk about a little bit of your journey into motherhood.
First and foremost, being a mom, we all fall into the, I got to join this mom group. I got to join that mom group. I need to know about this and that. If it wasn't for you putting me into the breastfeeding mom group, I probably wouldn't have had as successful of a journey as I did, because not only did you come and personally help me with breastfeeding, but that group helped a lot. But that is the only other mom group other than a vulnerable mom where I'm just like, oh, these other mom groups, I'm good. No, thank you. So I just need people to know that and why I'm so passionate about you continuing your work in a vulnerable mom. But my name is Sophanie. I go by Soph for the people who know me. My journey into motherhood did not come easy. I think we were TTC for 3.5, 4 years. And I went on TTC, got on, I believe it was clomiphene and progesterone. And I had a first successful positive pregnancy test, November of 2017. Had a miscarriage, December of 2017. Got pregnant again in 2018 and had my first son. I have 2 boys, a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old. My journey into motherhood started off with a C-section with my first son, Matthew. Then I had another C-section with my second son. You know, motherhood doesn't really go how you think it's going to go. And I need people to be okay with that and extend themselves grace. It took me a long time. I was very upset with my body for a very long time. Like, there is such a disconnect when you have a C-section because you didn't push that baby out. And, you know, like you spend all this time, like, I'm going to have a natural birth. I'm going to do X, Y, and Z. And I tried. And I had to tell myself, like, that doesn't make me less of a mom. And I was in such fear of, am I not going to connect with this baby and all this other stuff? And I was the only person in my immediate family to have a C-section. And I think that was something else because I didn't get that love, or I didn't get that like care that I felt like I should have gotten. Mm-hmm. So that's why motherhood and transparency is a big deal for me. And for me to share with others who also don't have that motherly connection. You can find it through your friends. You can build that through community.
Did you feel like there was any disconnect after having a C-section and being able to connect with your son in a different way?
Honestly, it felt different both times with both C-section. Mm-hmm. With the first one, because it was such a traumatic birth and we had such a horrible experience with the nursing staff at West Boca Medical that when they offered us the C-section, we went for it. All of our problems were with night shift nurses. And it broke my heart even more because most of my problems were with nurses who looked like me. And we don't talk about that enough because we're always concerned with nurses who look like this. When I had Matthew, I didn't get to hold him right away. So when I got to finally meet Matthew, I was like, oh my God, like I really have a baby. And I had such a hard time with breastfeeding. And I was just like, I hope we really bond. And I was so adamant, oh my God, we need to bond. We need to bond. We need to bond. I didn't get to push him out. So I need to make sure he's attached to me, skin to skin. When I had my second baby, 2020, we're in the pandemic. I literally fought to not be with my first set of doctors. And it didn't happen until the 3rd trimester. When my son Malachi was born, I was shook by how big he was. Again, got to only see him for a little bit. We latched within 45 minutes of him being born because they had to sew me back together. Instant connection. I felt like I wasn't forcing it too much. But then they took him to the NICU and he was in the NICU for 21 days. So that was rough.
What is something that you feel you would have needed when it comes to postpartum?
Honestly, my mom. Just to humanize herself for a moment and not be so judgmental. I was majority a stay-at-home mom with my first son. Then that alone was something for them to talk about, be negative about. Oh, well, I went back to work 10 days after I had your brother. When we had that miscarriage before we had Matthew, it was because I was trying to be a super hard worker. I'm running up and down and I'm like lifting up carts and doing all kind of things because other employees aren't doing their job and I'm just trying to like get home. Your role as a stay-at-home mom is still nonstop breastfeeding, nonstop waking up in the middle of the night. You want to make sure that you're putting forth, okay, he don't got to worry about this and that because I want to show that I'm still valuable as a person. I want to still show that all I needed was a mom. My mom doesn't talk about her past. And my mother is the type of person, she acts like she's never had a life previous to her holy life now with God.
What is your take on gentle parenting? And is it something that you choose to practice? Like, what's your take on gentle parenting?
I'm all here for gentle parenting. And I don't do it as the whole, sweetie, don't do that. Like, because that's not what gentle parenting is. At least not to me, because I will get on my children's level. I do apologize to my kids. I do have moments where I fall short, and especially with my youngest, because he is a no limit soldier, he is not a gentle child. So sometimes, yes, like, okay, I'm going to pop you for that. And I will apologize later because I could have approached it differently. And those are mostly the days where I may be touched out or I may be in the middle of trying to work because I work from home. He likes to take off. The boy likes to chase squirrels. He likes to hit his older brother. He likes to grab the tablet. He likes to scream. He thinks he's a cartoon sometimes. And he cries like the people on the cartoons kicking and we don't do that. So a lot of times I will let him have those big feelings. I don't care if we're in public. I don't care where we are. Okay, finish crying. Are you done? How do you feel? When you're ready to talk to me about why you just did that or why you're kicking and screaming, then I'm right here. My oldest is considered nonverbal. So it wasn't until he started taking off and like nothing scares you more than where did he go? And it's not even that you're a bad parent because you don't know where they went or where they took off to. It's the fact that he's so silent. He's so like calm that if you're trying to handle a tantrum over here, it could be a split second. He's gone. That's why I dress them alike.
Let's talk a little bit about where you are on your journey as a special needs parent.
So with my first son, his name is Matthew. He's 4 years old. He is considered autistic and nonverbal. And I have to point that out because it's two different things. And it took us so long to understand like what's going on. And there were so many people in the beginning who were like, don't get him tested. All they want to do is give your kids drugs and medicate your kids. Boys just develop later than girls, and oh, he'll be fine, and all those people who did all this talking, where were they after the diagnosis? Where are they now? They're not here. They're not around. So what's it to you to get your child tested early? Start early intervention. Because if you wait later on because of your ego, because of your pride, you've failed your child. Matthew was on point with all his milestones until he wasn't. And we didn't notice it until right around 15 months old. After his first birthday, we realized like, oh, he doesn't really talk as much as he used to. And it just so happened at that time, I was watching a YouTuber who I used to love her natural hair video years ago. Her name is Miss Vaughn TV. She had just started talking about her daughter and why she doesn't show her daughter often. And then she, delved into her daughter having autism. And she was talking about the signs, and I was just like, I asked him to sit down, watch this video with me. And as we're watching the video, like we both look at Matthew, who's literally doing everything that she was saying. Then the pandemic happened. So March 2020, we're home for the 2 weeks and we're both like furloughed, boom, straight from the jump. That's when we both were home and we're like, yeah, he's not even talking to us. Like he used to say mama. You know, he used to be on point. He used to play with Sage, like regular little toddler babies do. And then there was no more eye contact. There was no more verbal talking. It was a lot of frustration. I reached out to the pediatrician, and at the time we had an amazing pediatrician. She instantly was like, "Thank you for bringing this up. I didn't know how to tell you." So she immediately gave us a referral. But it's 2020. It's the freshman year of the pandemic, so it's hard to get an appointment here. But by the time he was 18 months old, he started speech therapy and OT. He has his days where it's so bad that I do break down crying. He has his days where I see his frustration, but if it wasn't for early intervention, we would not be here today. Imagine 3 years of your child getting therapy and you're only just now seeing the fruits of those labors.
I can see how passionate you are, right? Obviously, about your son. Having a support system is important, but right now, your biggest support is your partner. How are you balancing motherhood and marriage?
So it's definitely not easy. There are times where we feel like roommates, just being honest, because we don't have that opportunity to, you know, love on each other, caress each other, be there for one another. It's literally like tag, you're it, I clock
You're it.
you know. And then as a stay-at-home mom, at one point I was just like, here, take the kids. Like, I need a break. Because for so long, I was just like, I don't know what to tell you. I don't care if you had a bad day. Like, you're telling me about work and I had a blowout today. You're complaining about your coworkers. Well, my coworkers don't talk. Or I'm trying to stay up late at night to text and socialize because I feel like I need something to break up the monotony of my day. And I'm upset with him some days because I'm like, well, you get to leave the house. And you know, it's so hard to find your balance, to find your niche, to find like what works for the two of you. And then I went from being a stay-at-home mom to working from home still with the kids. Like, you have to balance with, well, I still do more than you, and I'm still working, and I'm still doing this, and I still have the kids all over me, and I'm still breastfeeding, and so I don't cook anymore. Literally will still work, and he will take care of all the cooking. So now I no longer cook because it's just too much, and that works for us. So we found our balance, and the kids will also still get to see, oh, well, my mom cleans, my dad cooks, my mom does this and plays with me, my dad does the kids see that it's not just one person's job. And we're trying to now build moments for us to love on each other more. So we're making time for that and to not let so much time go between us, like not being intimate, because that's a struggle too. We don't get date nights alone, like, you know, and it's just so hard because it's like, okay, I know I got to give him some, but do I really? Or it's like, you're like, oh, I'm a little horny today. Like, I can kind of, do a little something, something. Then he says something stupid. It does get easier the older the kids get. But I know for some people, just getting to this point is hard.
What you're excited to bring to a vulnerable mom?
I would love to bring support to moms who are, on this journey with special needs children, no matter what form of special needs, help you work through your grief. There is a grief that comes with being a special needs parent, and you have to go through that grief to become a better parent. There's a lot of resentment or a lot of, I should have done this or I should have been better. I'm taking more of a holistic approach on a lot of things. And I'm not too big on certain labels because people are like, are you a crunchy mom or a scrunchy mom? Listen, baby, that's too much. I'm here to be like that friend, that non-judgmental friend, that shoulder to lean on. Are you not tired of these daggers? Like, just pull one out of your back, put it down. We are hurt enough out here. Just give me a hug. Like, I'm here to be the hug. Give yourself grace. I'm slowly learning to be better about that. I'm trying to love on myself because so often we're like, oh, I wish I could have that body back and all this stuff. I'm trying to learn to love on myself at every stage. I'm at my biggest right now. Things happen, changes happen to your body. So I want to be that for someone. Like, listen, let's be uncomfortable together so that way we can grow. Without being uncomfortable, we're not gonna grow.
I'm never gonna let you down.